Imagine waking up to a peaceful morning, but within an hour, someone says something rude and your calm vanishes. Imagine standing in a long line, then one small push from behind ruins your whole mood. Imagine hearing just a few harsh words from someone close, and suddenly, you're filled with anger that stays with you the entire day. Why does something so small have the power to control our emotions? Why do we allow others' words or actions to disturb our inner peace? And most importantly, can we truly learn to never get angry again? We all face anger, whether it's at home, at work, or even in traffic. It sneaks in quietly and then burns like fire. One tiny spark can ruin our peace, relationships, and health. Here's a simple example. A man shouts at a shopkeeper. The shopkeeper stays calm. Later, the man feels embarrassed, but the shopkeeper sleeps peacefully. One reacted, the other responded. One chose peace, the other lost it. What made the difference? Awareness. Welcome to Wisdom Writings, where ancient teachings meet modern life. If you've ever felt controlled by anger or wish to remain calm no matter what, this video will guide you through a path that can truly change your life. Like this video if you connect with these thoughts, comment your views below, share it with someone who often gets angry, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss what's coming next. And yes, please drop Namo Buddhist in the comments to keep your heart connected to peace as you watch till the end. Anger is not just an emotion. It's a habit, a reaction, a pattern. And Buddhism teaches that we are not slaves to our patterns. We can break them. But how? By understanding them first. The Buddha taught that anger is like a burning coal you hold, hoping to throw it at someone else. But you burn your own hand first. Still, we do it every day, burning ourselves quietly inside. In today's busy world, we've made anger normal. We justify it. I had to say that, or they deserved it. But Buddha's wisdom asks, what do you deserve? Peace or pain? You can't control others, but you can master yourself. Stay with us on this journey, because what you'll learn here isn't just theory, it's a way of living. A way to protect your mind, your time, your peace. By the end of this video, you won't just understand anger. You'll be ready to live beyond it. Keep watching. Something powerful is waiting for you in the next part. Imagine a fire burning deep inside your chest. It grows quickly, fiercely, and suddenly you find yourself overwhelmed by heat and smoke. This fire is anger. But what is anger really? Many think anger is just an emotion, like happiness or sadness. Yet, anger is more than feeling. It is a powerful force, born from inside the mind, often hidden beneath our surface thoughts. Anger is like a wave in the ocean. It rises suddenly, strong and wild, and then it crashes down. You can't stop the wave itself. It comes and goes naturally. But you can learn how to ride the wave without being swept away. To do this, we must first understand the wave. In Buddhism, anger is called dosa in Pali, and it is considered one of the three poisons. The other two are greed and ignorance. These poisons are the root causes of suffering. Anger is not just an external reaction to events around us. It is a seed planted deeply inside, growing quietly until it bursts into flames. When anger arises, it clouds the mind. It makes us see only what harms us and hides the truth. Like a dark fog, anger blinds our wisdom and mercy. The mind narrows, and all we feel is a burning desire to push away the pain or hurt we perceive. But what pain? And from where does this hurt come? Often, anger comes from fear. When we feel threatened, whether physically, emotionally, or even in our sense of self, our mind reacts by creating anger. It is a defense, an alarm, a way to protect what we think is ours. But this protection is false. It builds walls that isolate us rather than bridges that heal. Think of a child who cries loudly when a toy is taken away. The child is not angry just to be angry. The child feels loss, fear, or frustration. Adults are no different. When anger erupts, it is a child inside us, hurt and crying, asking to be seen and comforted. The Zen master does not fight this fire. He watches it. He observes its heat, its shape, its movement. He knows it will come and go like all things. When we stop struggling with anger and instead watch it calmly, the fire loses power. It becomes smaller, easier to handle. This watching is called mindfulness. It means paying attention to what is happening right now, inside and outside. When anger begins to rise, the mindful mind says, I see you, anger. You are here, but you will not control me. The fire still burns, but the hand holding the coal becomes steady. Another important thing to understand is that anger is a temporary visitor, not a permanent resident. We often feel like anger is part of who we are. We say, I am an angry person, but this is not true. Anger is like a passing cloud, moving across the sky of our mind. It comes and goes. It does not define us. When anger burns, it feels powerful, but it is actually a sign of weakness. It shows that the mind is not free. It shows that the heart is tied to pain, pride, or desire. Real strength is in calmness, in gentle patience, and in understanding. The Buddha taught that anger is like holding a hot coal, hoping to throw it at someone else. But the only one burned is yourself. Holding on to anger causes suffering not just for others, but most of all for the angry person. It disturbs peace, clouds health, and ruins relationships. Sometimes people think anger helps them get what they want. They believe shouting, blaming, or even fighting will protect their interests. But anger always pushes people away. It builds walls of fear and mistrust. It breaks the very connection we need to live happily. In our daily lives, anger often appears in small moments. The driver who cuts us off, the harsh words of a loved one, the delay in something important. These moments seem small, but if we give anger space, it grows. Like a seed watered daily, anger blossoms into a forest fire. To truly understand anger, we must look deeply into the causes. What makes the mind angry? Often, it is attachment to how we want things to be, to our beliefs about ourselves and others. We expect the world to follow our desires. When it does not, frustration turns to anger. Attachment is like a cage. We trap ourselves in ideas of how life must go. When life breaks these ideas, we suffer. Anger is the loud cry of the trapped bird inside the cage. The wisdom of Buddhism asks us to loosen these chains. It teaches impermanence, that everything changes. Nothing stays the same. When we accept this truth deeply, the grip of anger weakens. We learn to flow with life instead of fighting it. Another cause of anger is pride. We want to be respected, right, or honored. When this pride is wounded, anger rises. But pride is fragile and can be broken easily. True confidence does not need to defend itself with anger. It stands quietly like a mountain. Sometimes, anger comes from misunderstanding. We interpret others' words or actions incorrectly. We add stories to reality that feed our hurt feelings. The wise mind questions these stories. Is this really true? Could there be another way to see this? When we challenge our assumptions, anger loses its fuel. It begins to fade. The fire of anger also feeds on stress and exhaustion. When the body and mind are tired, the smallest irritation can light a big flame. Taking care of ourselves, resting, and practicing kindness toward our own tired hearts are essential steps to calm the fire. Breathing is one of the simplest tools we have to cool anger. Deep, slow breaths bring oxygen to the body and help the mind slow down. When angry, the breath is short and sharp like the fire itself. Changing the breath can change the fire. In the silence that comes with mindful breathing, we find space, a small gap between the rising anger and our reaction. This gap is a door to freedom. The Zen master reminds us, anger is a messenger, not an enemy. It signals that something inside needs attention. Instead of pushing anger away or blaming it, we can welcome it with gentle curiosity. What are you trying to tell me, anger? This kind of inner dialogue changes the relationship we have with anger. It no longer controls us, but becomes a guide. With patience and practice, the fire inside becomes a warm light instead of a burning flame. It can illuminate truth, protect boundaries, and show us the path to healing. Remember, the mind is like water. When disturbed, it is muddy and unclear. When calm, it reflects the world clearly. Anger stirs the water. Mindfulness settles it. No one is perfect. Everyone feels anger. What matters is how we respond. Do we feed the fire, or do we learn to watch it quietly? This understanding is the first step toward freedom from anger. It opens the door to peace, happiness, and deeper compassion for ourselves and others. The journey continues, but with each moment of awareness, the fire becomes smaller. The mind grows clearer, the heart softer. This is the way of the Zen master. This is the way to live without being ruled by anger. The Buddhist view, roots of anger in a mind. When we speak of anger, many think it is caused by others, by what they say, by what they do. But in the Buddhist way, anger is not something outside us. It begins inside our own mind. Like a storm that grows in the sky, the storm of anger grows within the heart and mind. To understand how, we must first look inside carefully. Anger is like a fire that burns hot and fast. But where does this fire come from? It comes from the seeds planted by our thoughts, our habits, and our desires. The Buddha taught that anger does not appear out of nowhere. It is born from confusion and craving. When we want things to be different than they are, when things do not go the way we expect, the fire of anger can ignite. Think of a simple moment. Someone cuts in front of you on the road. Your first reaction might be anger. But why? It is because you expect others to follow your rules, to respect your space. When they do not, your mind feels threatened. This feeling of threat grows and becomes anger. In Buddhism, this is called dukkha, often translated as suffering or dissatisfaction. The world is not perfect, not as we want it. But our mind holds on to the idea that it should be perfect, that life should go our way. This grasping creates frustration. And frustration, when strong, becomes anger. Now, the important part is not to blame others for our anger. The Buddha teaches that anger is a poison inside us. It harms the one who holds it more than anyone else. Imagine drinking poison, hoping it will hurt someone else. This is what holding anger does. It hurts our peace, our body, and our spirit. The mind is like a garden. If we plant seeds of kindness, patience, and understanding, beautiful flowers will grow. But if we plant seeds of anger, jealousy, and hatred, the weeds will take over. It is natural for weeds to appear, but if we do not care for the garden, they will choke out the flowers. Anger grows because we feed it. When we hold on to anger, think about it over and over, or justify it, we are watering the weeds. The Buddha's way shows us how to stop watering anger, to stop feeding it. One of the roots of anger is ignorance. Not the kind of ignorance we think of as not knowing facts, but the deeper kind, ignorance of reality. We do not see things as they really are. We see the world through our desires and fears. We believe that people and things are permanent, that they belong to us, or that they should be different. But everything changes. Nothing stays the same. This is called anicca, impermanence. When we understand this, our anger loses its power. We realize that the rude words, the unfair actions, the mistakes, these things will not last forever. They're like clouds passing in the sky. Another root of anger is ego, the sense of I and mine. We believe strongly that we are separate from others and that our needs are most important. When someone hurts us or disagrees, it feels like a personal attack on ourselves. This feeling makes anger rise like a shield to protect the I. The Buddha teaches that the self is not fixed or permanent. It is made of many parts that change every moment. When we see that the I is not so solid, we can let go of the need to defend it fiercely. This softening allows kindness to replace anger. The mind also clings to attachment. We get attached to people, things, and ideas. When these attachments are threatened, anger often arises. For example, when someone criticizes something you love, your mind may react with anger because it feels like a threat to what you hold dear. To end anger, the Buddha advises us to practice letting go. This does not mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is fine. It means seeing clearly what is real, understanding that clinging causes suffering, and choosing to respond with calmness instead of fury. Another important teaching is mindfulness, being aware of our feelings as they arise. without immediately reacting. When we feel the first signs of anger, if we stop and watch carefully, we create space. This space is where choice happens. We can choose not to fuel the fire. When anger appears, the mind is like a mirror disturbed by dust. The dust is the anger clouding the clear reflection of our true nature. With mindfulness, we clean the dust gently, allowing the mirror to show reality clearly again. The Buddha also taught compassion as an antidote to anger. When someone harms us or makes mistakes, it is often because they suffer. Seeing their pain does not excuse harmful actions, but changes how we respond. Compassion helps us to respond with kindness rather than anger. Sometimes anger feels like a heavy chain, binding us to pain and suffering. To break free, we need patience and practice. This is why Buddhism is called a path, a journey of learning and growth. It is helpful to remember that anger is not a failure. It is a signal, a message from the mind and body telling us that something is wrong. If we listen deeply to this message, we learn more about ourselves and the world. Instead of blaming anger, the Buddha invites us to study it with kindness. Why did it arise? What made it grow? How does it affect us and others? This study is like shining light into dark corners. Through meditation and reflection, we train the mind to stay steady even when difficult emotions arise. We do not push anger away or hold on to it. We see it clearly and allow it to pass. The roots of anger lie in our misunderstanding of reality, our attachment, our ego, our craving for control. But the roots of peace lie in the opposite: understanding, letting go, and compassion. In daily life, this means pausing before reacting. It means practicing patience when things do not go our way. It means reminding ourselves that peace is always possible, even when anger seems strong. The path taught by the Buddha is not quick or easy. It requires courage to face the fire inside and patience to water the garden with kindness instead. But the rewards are great. Freedom from anger brings peace, clarity, and joy. It allows us to live fully with an open heart. So remember, anger is not your enemy, but a teacher. When you understand its roots, you can choose not to water it anymore. You can choose peace instead. The journey continues in the next part. But for now, hold these words gently in your heart. Anger is a passing storm. Your true nature is calm like the sky beyond the clouds. Imagine for a moment that the world you see is like a mirror. But this mirror is not perfectly clear. It is cracked, smudged, and clouded by dust. What you see in it is not always the truth. Sometimes, it shows you things larger or smaller than they really are. Sometimes, it shows you shadows instead of light. This mirror is your mind. You may think that what you see is real. You may believe that your anger is caused by the other person, by their words, by their actions. But in truth, anger is born in how your mind interprets those things. It is not what happens outside, but how you see it inside that fuels the fire. In Buddhism, the way you see the world is called your perception. Perception is like a filter that colors everything. If this filter is dark or cracked, everything looks threatening, unfair, or hurtful. But if this filter is clear and calm, the same events look very different. When someone says something harsh, the raw event is simply words. But your mind adds meaning to those words. It may say, "They're attacking me," or "I am not respected," or "This is unfair." And suddenly, the calm moment is broken. Anger rises. The Zen way invites you to pause before accepting these meanings. It invites you to step back from the mirror and clean it, to see things not as they appear, but as they really are, not as a threat, but as a moment passing by. This does not mean ignoring reality or pretending nothing matters. It means seeing clearly, without the thought of judgment, fear, or anger. When you see clearly, you realize that most things are not personal. Most moments are empty of the heavy meaning we give them. You might ask, but how do I do this? How do I change what my mind sees? The answer is simple, yet profound. You begin by noticing. Noticing that anger is arising. Noticing the thoughts that come with it. Noticing the body's reaction, the quickened heartbeat, the tight chest, the clenched fists. When you notice without immediately reacting, you create a space. In the space, you can choose. You can choose not to feed the anger, not to jump into the fire. You become the watcher, the silent observer. In that silence, a shift happens. The moment feels less urgent. The threat feels smaller. The mind softens. Perception changes. The event that once sparked fury now appears as a passing cloud, not a storm. The harsh word becomes a sound that does not have to cut deeply. The unfairness becomes a challenge to your own calm, not a blow to your peace. This shift is not magic. It is practice. Like training a muscle, you strengthen your ability to see clearly by returning again and again to the present moment. By asking, is this really true? Is this meaning I give to this moment real? Or is it just a habit? The Buddhist said, the world is created by the mind. What this means is that the reality you live in is made by how your mind shapes your experiences. When your mind is clouded by anger, the world looks dark and hostile. When your mind is clear and calm, the world looks peaceful and full of possibility. You have the power to shape your experience by shaping your perception. One of the most powerful tools to do this is the practice of mindful awareness. Mindfulness is simply paying attention to what is happening inside and outside you, without judgment. It is like watching a river flow, noticing the thoughts and feelings without trying to stop or push them away. When anger arises, mindfulness allows you to see it as just a feeling, temporary and changeable. It shows you that anger has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It is not forever. Understanding this nature of anger weakens its hold. It no longer feels like a monster to fight, but a wave to ride until it passes. Perception is also shaped by the stories we tell ourselves. Sometimes, anger grows because we believe stories that are not true or incomplete. Stories about how things should be or how others must behave. For example, you might tell yourself, that person should not have said that, or it is not fair that I was treated this way. These stories create expectations and judgments that trap you in anger. To change perception, you can question these stories. Are they true? Are they helpful? Can I see the situation from another angle? Try to see the world as a beginner sees it. Fresh, open, without preconceptions. This beginner's mind allows you to experience life moment by moment, not through the filter of anger or blame. Sometimes, you might find humor in a situation that once angered you. Humor is a way to loosen the grip of rigid perception. It reminds us not to take ourselves or others too seriously. When your perception shifts, your life shifts. Anger loses power because it depends on a fixed way of seeing. Change the way you see, and anger cannot hold you. This does not mean you become passive or indifferent. It means you respond with wisdom rather than reaction. You respond with calm instead of chaos. This calm is not weakness, it is strength. The strength to hold your peace even when storms arise. You will still face challenges. You will still meet people who upset you. But with a changed perception, these moments become opportunities to practice peace, not triggers for anger. Imagine your mind as a garden. Anger is like a weed that grows quickly if left unattended. But if you tend your garden with awareness and care, the weeds cannot take over. Flowers of patience, kindness, and calm will bloom instead. Remember, perception is not fixed. It is always changing, always open to new light. Each moment is a chance to see more clearly, to choose peace over anger. Walk this path gently. Be patient with yourself. Changing how you see the world takes time and practice. But each step forward is a step toward freedom. Freedom from anger. Freedom from suffering. This is the power of perception. By learning to see clearly, you learn to live fully. You learn to live without the heavy burden of anger. And in that space, your true peace is found. Listen closely, for this is the part where we begin to change the story. Anger has been a guest in your life, uninvited but persistent. Yet the good news is that the cycle of anger can be broken. You may feel trapped, as if anger is something beyond your control. But it is not. It is something you can learn to see clearly, and then step away from. First, understand that anger is like a storm in the mind. When a storm rises, it clouds your vision, makes your heart race, and your thoughts blur. But storms do not last forever. They come and go. Your mind, like the sky, is vast and clear beneath the storm clouds. The first step is to notice the storm without immediately reacting to it. Buddhism offers tools that are simple yet powerful. They are not magic, but they work if practiced patiently and sincerely. The first tool is awareness. When you feel the first flicker of anger, pause. Don't push it away or run after it. Instead, breathe deeply and watch it. Notice where in your body the anger arises. Is it in your chest, your stomach, your hands? Naming this feeling quietly inside yourself can help you separate from it. Say silently, "This is anger." You don't have to act on it. You are simply observing. This awareness is like holding a mirror to your mind. The moment you see anger clearly, it loses some of its power. It is no longer a hidden force controlling you. It is just an experience passing through. Next, there's breath. Your breath is always with you, steady and calm beneath the noise. When anger rises, return to your breath. Take slow, deep breaths. Inhale fully and exhale slowly. Let the breath be your anchor, pulling you back from the edge of rage. Each breath calms your nervous system and reminds you that you are alive and present. Sometimes this simple act of breathing can stop anger from growing. It is like pouring water on a small fire before it turns into a blaze. Another powerful practice is reflection. Ask yourself gently, what is this anger trying to tell me? What do I really feel beneath it? Often, anger hides pain, fear, or frustration. When you explore these feelings without judgment, you discover your true needs. Maybe you feel unheard, unsafe, or disrespected. Understanding this softens anger's sharp edges. When you recognize the deeper feelings, you can choose how to respond in a way that respects yourself and others. Instead of shouting, you may calmly say, "I feel hurt when," or "this situation is difficult for me." Words like these open the door for healing instead of conflict. In Buddhist teaching, there's also the practice of loving kindness or metta. When anger arises, try silently wishing well to yourself and to the person causing anger. It might sound strange, but wishing kindness, even in small moments, starts to dissolve the bitterness inside. Say quietly, "May I be peaceful. May they be peaceful." Repeat this gently. Over time, this practice softens your heart and reduces the fire of anger. You do not have to mean it perfectly at first. Even a little effort to wish peace is like planting a seed. With care, it will grow. Now understand this. Anger often comes from expectations. We expect people to act a certain way or life to follow our plans. When it doesn't, frustration builds. The Buddha taught us to accept reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. This acceptance is not resignation, is clear seeing. When you accept, you stop fighting what is happening. You open space for calm and wisdom to arise. Practice this daily. When something makes you angry, pause and ask, "Can I accept this moment as it is?" Even if you cannot change the situation, you can change your response. Remember, anger is a habit. Like any habit, it can be changed with patience and practice. You won't be perfect overnight. Some days will be harder than others. But each time you choose awareness, breath, reflection, kindness, or acceptance, you break the chain of anger just a little more. Another practical step is to create space between the trigger and your reaction. When you feel anger rising, try to step back mentally or physically. Count to 10 slowly. Walk away if possible. Use this moment to choose your next action wisely. It is in this space that freedom lives. Do not underestimate small actions. Over time, these moments of calm add up. Your mind becomes like a lake, still and clear instead of stormy and disturbed. You may also find help in simple meditation. Sit quietly, focus on your breath, and gently observe your thoughts. When anger comes, notice it, and then return your focus to your breath. Meditation trains your mind to be less reactive and more peaceful. If anger is very strong or persistent, consider talking to a wise teacher or counselor. Sometimes, Deep wounds beneath anger need care and healing. This is natural and courageous. In Buddhism, everything is connected. Your anger affects you, your body, your mind, and those around you. When you work to heal your anger, you create peace not only for yourself, but also for your family and community. Know this too. Forgiveness is a great power. Forgiving does not mean forgetting or accepting harm. It means releasing the burden of anger so you can live freely. Forgiveness frees your heart. Every step you take away from anger is a step toward freedom. Now, hold this thought in your heart. You are not your anger. You are the awareness behind it. The more you practice seeing this, the less anger will control your life. Practice patience with yourself. Like a gardener tending plants, tend your mind with kindness and care. Watch as anger loses its grip and peace grows in its place. This is the path to break the cycle. Every moment offers a new chance to choose calm, to choose love, to choose peace. Walk this path gently and steadily. The more you practice, the more you will understand that anger is not your master. It is a visitor you can welcome briefly and then let go. This is your true power. This is your freedom. When anger rises in your heart, it is like a storm brewing within a calm sea. The waves crash violently, and the mind becomes clouded. But beneath the storm, the ocean remains deep and still. You must learn to return to that stillness, to the calm depth of your being. This is the beginning of understanding how compassion can dissolve anger and transform your relationships. Anger often grows because of a misunderstanding. When someone hurts us, we see only the pain and forget to see the human behind the action. We forget that each person carries their own burdens, struggles, and suffering. When we remember this, our anger softens. We begin to see not an enemy, but another human being who, like us, wants to be happy and free from pain. The first step to transforming anger through compassion is to pause. When you feel anger rising, pause. Take a deep breath. Feel the sensation of anger in your body, but do not act on it. Acting in anger is like lighting a fire to burn a leaf. It may feel satisfying for a moment, but soon the fire will consume you. Instead, in the pause, bring your attention inward and ask, what is this anger trying to tell me? Often, anger is a sign of fear or hurt. Someone's words or actions may have touched a wound inside you, a wound that is old and hidden. When you see anger as a messenger, you do not have to react with more anger. You can listen kindly to your own heart and find healing. In this healing, compassion grows. Compassion begins with yourself. When you are angry, remember to treat yourself with kindness. Do not judge yourself for feeling anger. It is a natural emotion, but do not let anger rule your life. Speak gently to yourself. It is okay to feel angry. I will not harm myself or others with this anger. This kindness to self opens the door to kindness for others. When you feel ready, think about the person who caused your anger. Imagine their life, their struggles. Imagine the moments they may have felt alone or afraid. This exercise does not excuse their harmful behavior, but it allows your heart to soften. Softness does not mean weakness. A soft heart is a strong heart because it is free from the chains of hatred and resentment. When your heart is free, your relationships change. Instead of conflict and pain, there is understanding and peace. In Buddhism, we learn that all beings desire happiness and to avoid suffering. When someone hurts you, it is often because they are caught in their own suffering. This does not mean you must accept harm, but you can respond with awareness. You can choose to respond with compassion instead of anger. Compassion is a powerful tool. It transforms not only the one who receives it, but also the one who gives it. When you respond with compassion, you break the cycle of anger. You become a light in the darkness, not fuel for the fire. Imagine two people arguing. One is angry, shouting, blaming. The other listens quietly, with calm and kindness. The angry person begins to soften, surprised by the calm response. The argument fades. Peace grows. This is the power of compassion in relationships. It is not about winning or losing. It is about seeing each other as fellow travelers on the path of life, each carrying burdens, each making mistakes, each wanting to be understood. To cultivate compassion, practice listening deeply. Listen not just to words, but to feelings. When you listen with your whole being, you communicate respect and care. This can dissolve anger before it grows. Remember also to forgive, not to forget or excuse harm, but to release the heavy weight of resentment from your own heart. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It frees you. You may ask, what if the anger is too strong? What if the hurt is too deep? The path of compassion is not easy. It requires courage and patience. Sometimes it takes time to soften a hard heart. Be patient with yourself and with others. Meditation can help. Sit quietly each day. Focus on your breath. When anger arises, watch it without judgment. Imagine it as a cloud passing in the sky. It comes and it goes. You do not have to hold on to it. In your daily life, try to practice small acts of kindness. Smile at a stranger. Offer help without expectation. Speak gently. These small actions nurture compassion in your heart. Remember, the Buddha said, hatred never ends by hatred, but by love alone is healed. This truth is simple and profound. Love and compassion are the true healers of anger. When your heart fills with compassion, your relationships transform. You no longer see others as enemies or obstacles. You see them as teachers, mirrors, companions on the journey. Each conflict becomes an opportunity to practice patience, kindness, and understanding. Each moment of anger becomes a chance to choose peace. This is not a distant ideal. It is a living practice available in every moment. When anger comes, breathe deeply. Remember the suffering behind the anger, both in yourself and in the other person. Choose compassion. By doing this, you break the cycle. You free yourself. You create space for peace and happiness to grow. The journey is not about perfection. It is about progress. Every small step toward compassion makes a difference. You may find that as compassion grows, anger loses its power. Your mind becomes clear. Your heart becomes light. Your life becomes peaceful. When you feel anger, ask yourself, what does this anger hide? What will compassion say? Listen deeply, respond kindly, and watch as your relationships change. In this way, the storm in the sea calms. The waves settle, and the deep, quiet ocean of a being shines once again. You are not alone on this path. Every being struggles with anger. Every being seeks peace. Through compassion, you connect with all life. You create harmony within yourself and with others. The power to transform anger is within you. With patience, kindness, and practice, you can choose peace again and again. Remember, anger is a cloud, compassion is the sun. Let the sun shine on your heart. This is the true path to freedom. This is the way of the Buddha. Mastery through mindfulness. Daily practices to disarm anger. Anger is a powerful force. It can rush into the mind like a storm, shaking everything inside. Yet, within this storm lies a calm center, waiting to be found. The wise do not run from anger. Instead, they look deeply into it, like a traveler who faces the wind but keeps steady feet. The path to never getting angry again is not to fight anger as an enemy, but to understand it and transform it. And this is where mindfulness becomes our greatest tool. Mindfulness is simple, yet profound. It is the practice of being fully present with whatever is happening inside and around us. When anger arises, mindfulness invites us to pause, to see clearly what is happening in the mind and body. Often, anger feels like a sudden eruption, but if we train ourselves to watch carefully, we begin to see the tiny sparks before the fire spreads. These sparks are thoughts, feelings, or sensations that can grow if we give them power. Mindfulness teaches us to notice these sparks early. When anger comes, instead of reacting immediately, take a moment, breathe deeply, and observe what you feel. Is your heart beating fast? Is your body tense? Is there a harsh thought pushing you forward? Simply observe without judgment. This moment of awareness is the space where choice is born. You do not have to follow the impulse to lash out or argue. You can choose calmness instead. Each day, the practice of mindfulness can be woven into simple activities. When you wake up before the mind rushes into the demands of the day, sit quietly. Feel the breath as it moves in and out. This anchors the mind to the present moment. When you eat, focus fully on the taste, texture, and smell of your food. When you walk, feel the connection of your feet to the earth. These small moments of mindfulness train the mind to slow down, to be less reactive. Anger often grows from misunderstanding. It is born from stories we tell ourselves about others and ourselves. Mindfulness allows us to catch these stories and see them for what they are, thoughts, not absolute truth. When a rude word or action arises, mindfulness helps us pause and question, is this really an attack on me? Or is it just a moment in someone else's struggle? Seeing clearly lessens the heat of anger. Another powerful practice is to focus on the breath. The breath is a bridge between the body and mind. When anger burns inside, breathing slowly and deeply can cool the fire. Try counting each breath, 1 in, 1 out, 2 in, 2 out. This simple rhythm grounds you and slows the rush of emotion. When mindfulness becomes a habit, it reveals another truth, that anger is often tied to expectations. We expect people to behave in certain ways. When they do not, frustration and anger arise. But life does not always follow our expectations. People act out of their own experiences, fears, and pain. Mindfulness helps us accept this reality gently, reducing the shock when things do not go our way. Daily mindfulness practice also includes self-compassion. Many hold anger inside, not just at others but at themselves. They criticize and blame. Mindfulness teaches kindness toward oneself. When anger arises, it is okay to feel it. We do not have to punish ourselves for emotions. Instead, recognize anger as a sign that something needs attention. Gently ask yourself, what does this anger want me to see? One technique used by the Buddha and many Zen masters is called noting. This means silently naming what arises: anger, frustration, impatience. By naming emotions, we take away their power to overwhelm. They become objects of observation, not rulers of our mind. The mind is like a garden. If we plant seeds of anger, weeds will grow. But if we plant seeds of mindfulness, patience, and kindness, these will flourish. Mindfulness is the gardener who watches over this garden carefully. It tends to the soil of the mind, making space for peace to grow. Practicing mindfulness also means learning to let go. Holding on to anger is like carrying a heavy burden. It drains energy and joy. When we practice mindfulness, we learn to recognize when to hold on and when to release. This letting go is not weakness, but strength. It frees us from chains we did not even realize we wore. It is important to remember that mindfulness is not about suppressing anger or pretending it does not exist. True mastery is about meeting anger with awareness and compassion. When anger is fully seen, it loses its control. It becomes a passing cloud, not a permanent storm. In moments of anger, mindfulness invites us to return to the present. Anger often pulls us into the past or future, remembering past hurts or worrying about what might happen. The present moment, however, is always here and always peaceful if we allow it. A daily practice to strengthen this habit is meditation. Sitting quietly each day, even for a few minutes, trains the mind to be still and watchful. In meditation, you watch the breath, thoughts, feelings, and sensations without holding on. With time, this calm and clear awareness grows, making it easier to respond to anger calmly when it arises in daily life. Mindfulness also teaches patience. When anger arises, patience is the pause that allows understanding to grow. It is the space between stimulus and response. This space is precious. In it we find freedom. Remember, mindfulness is not a quick fix. It is a lifelong journey. Each day offers a new chance to practice, to become more aware, more present, and more kind. Over time, the habit of mindfulness changes the way the mind reacts. Anger loses its grip, and peace becomes natural. Another part of mindfulness is awareness of body language. When anger rises, the body shows signs: tight shoulders, clenched fists, a hard gaze. By noticing these signs early, we can act before anger explodes. Simple actions like relaxing the shoulders, softening the gaze, or loosening the hands help calm the mind. Listening deeply to others also grows from mindfulness. When we listen fully, without planning what to say next or judging, misunderstandings lessen. Anger often comes from feeling unheard or attacked. Mindfulness teaches us to listen with an open heart, creating space for kindness and understanding. Sometimes, mindfulness shows us that what we thought was anger is actually fear, hurt, or sadness. These feelings hide behind anger like shadows. When we bring awareness to these deeper feelings, healing begins. Anger then becomes a message, not a barrier. Daily mindfulness can include walking meditation, where each step is taken with full attention. This practice helps anchor the mind when emotions are high. Walking slowly and mindfully grounds us in the body and the present moment. We can also use mindfulness during conversations. When someone says something upsetting, instead of reacting immediately, breathe and listen. Notice your feelings, but do not act on them right away. This simple pause can prevent many conflicts. In time, mindfulness changes how we see the world. We begin to notice beauty in small things: the smile of a stranger, the sound of birds, the warmth of sunlight. This gentle noticing softens the harshness that feeds anger. Even when anger returns, mindfulness helps us greet it with curiosity rather than fear or hatred. We ask, what can this anger teach me? This question opens the heart and softens the mind. Mindfulness is not just a practice for when we feel angry. It is a way of living that prepares the mind to meet every moment with calm and clarity. Each breath, each step, each thought is a chance to choose peace. When you cultivate mindfulness, anger loses its power quietly, like ice melting in the sun. It does not disappear all at once, but slowly fades away. In its place, a deeper peace and freedom arise. This peace is not distant or impossible. It is here now, waiting in each moment. Mindfulness is the key that opens the door. So, continue to practice. Watch your breath, notice your thoughts, feel your body. When anger comes, greet it gently, observe it clearly, and let it pass. With patience and kindness, you'll find that anger no longer controls your life. The storm will come, but you will stand steady. The fire will burn, but your heart will be cool. This is the mastery of mindfulness, a path taught by the Buddha and lived by those who seek true freedom. Freedom from fury, the peaceful path forward. The journey you have traveled to reach this moment is like a long walk through the forest. Sometimes the path was clear and gentle. Sometimes it was rough and dark. But now you stand at the edge, where the forest opens to a wide field under the open sky. This is the place where anger no longer controls you. This is the place of peace. And I, your humble guide, welcome you here. Imagine for a moment what it feels like to live free from anger. No sudden bursts of fury when things go wrong. No heavy weight on your chest when someone offends you. Just a calm river flowing through your mind. When trouble comes, the river flows around it without breaking. When people say harsh words, the river listens and keeps moving. This is not a dream, it is possible. You might ask, Zen Master, can anyone truly live without anger, even when life is so difficult? Yes, my friend, this is the heart of the teaching. The Buddha showed us the way. Anger is not a part of you. It is a cloud that covers the sun. Clouds come and go. The sun is always there, shining behind them. You're that sun. The light within you is always peaceful, but sometimes clouds of anger hide it. Our task is to learn how to let those clouds pass. Letting go of anger is not about becoming cold or weak. It is about becoming strong and clear. When you give up anger, you do not lose your power. You gain true power. The power to stay calm when others shout. The power to smile when someone is unkind. The power to see clearly what is real and what is not. Many people believe that anger helps them protect themselves. But in truth, anger is like a trap. When you hold on to anger, it holds on to you. It keeps your heart locked in chains. You lose energy, joy, and peace. The Buddha said that holding anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. But the poison flows into your own body, slowly destroying you. Now, you have seen the tools that can free you from this poison. Mindfulness, being aware of your feelings without judgment. Compassion, understanding others even when they hurt you. Patience, waiting quietly instead of rushing to react. These are the keys that unlock the chains. But how do you practice these when the world pulls you back in anger? Begin with small moments. When you feel the first spark of anger, pause. Breathe deeply. Say quietly in your mind, this feeling will pass. Watch the anger like a cloud moving in the sky. Do not fight it. Do not chase it away. Just watch. This simple practice makes a difference. It trains your mind to respond with calm, not reaction. Over time, those sparks become smaller. The storms calm. The river of your mind flows smooth and steady. Remember, this is not a race. You do not need to be perfect. Even the Buddha taught patience with yourself. Sometimes anger will come. Do not be angry at your anger. This is the first step to healing. You are not alone on this path. Every person who seeks peace faces the same struggle. Every moment you choose calm over anger, you join a quiet revolution, a wave of peace spreading in the world. And what is the reward? Freedom. Freedom from suffering. Freedom from the pain anger causes. Freedom to live with an open heart. Free to love, to forgive, and to be happy. When you live without anger, your life changes. Your relationships become gentle. Your mind becomes clear. Your body feels light. You sleep well. You wake up with a smile. This freedom is not far away. It is here now inside you. The teachings you have heard are a map. The practice is the path. Step by step, day by day, you walk forward. As your Zen master, I invite you to take this path fully. When anger rises, greet it with calm. When hurt comes, respond with kindness. When life is hard, meet it with patience. You may ask, what if others do not change? What if the world stays angry? You cannot control others, but you can control yourself. Your peace will be a light that others may see and follow. Change begins with you. Hold this truth. Peace is not outside. Peace is inside you. The Buddha said, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. When you find peace within, anger loses its power. Now, before we end this journey, I want to remind you to live with awareness. Keep practicing mindfulness every day. Notice your feelings. Do not let them grow wild. When anger comes, breathe, watch, and release. Thank you for walking this path with me. If this teaching has touched your heart, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Writings. Your support helps spread peace in the world. Please drop Namo Buddhari in the comments to stay connected to the light of the Buddha's wisdom. Carry this peace with you wherever you go. Let it shine in your eyes, your words, your actions. The world needs more calm hearts like yours. May your life be free from anger. May your mind be clear like still water. May your heart be open like the sky. Namo Buddhaya.